Here are the various changes I noticed between the 1988 book and the 2021 graphic novel of Babysitter's Club, Kristy and the Snobs. The book is number 11 in the series. The graphic novel is number 10. The book starts with Kristy complaining about snobs and rich kids in the neighborhood. This is not in the graphic novel. Kristy doesn't notice Louie's pads are cold. Sam criticizes Kristy's outfit in both versions, but the book gives more details as to why. Sam is girl crazy and hoping to get the attention of a girl named Monique. I don't think we hear about her in any other books. I guess the relationship didn't work out. In the book, there are 4 snobs. 3 of them are blonde. The graphic novel has 3 snobs and no blondes. They remove the scene where Kristy and Shannon call each other snob and jerkface. Mimi speaks in perfect sentences. In the book, her speech is broken because of her stroke. In the graphic novel, Stacy enters the room before Kristy does. It's the other way around in the book. Mallory and Jesse are not in the Babysitter's Club in the original book. Everything they say at club meetings was originally said by someone else. In the book, club dues are $1. They must have increased, because Claudia is clearly holding more than one bill in the graphic novel. The first 2 pages of the book's Chapter 3 are added to the end of the graphic novel's Chapter 2. The graphic novel removes all discussion of how Louis usually misbehaves when going to the vet. They remove the vet's warnings about keeping Louis away from stairs, as well as the later scene where Louis falls downstairs. Priscilla the cat's price was increased from $400 to $4,000. Kristy and Shannon don't stick out their tongues at each other at the end of Chapter 3. The graphic novel removes the minor conversation about how the Papadakis dog was dressed up in human clothes last year. Tiffany paints her nails. In the book, she files them. I guess painting nails makes for a more interesting illustration. Shannon glances at Kristy, and Kristy leaves immediately. In the book, Shannon pretends not to notice Kristy for a few minutes before staring at her for an extended time. In the book, Shannon pretends the Papadakis house is on fire. In the graphic novel, she pretends to have seen the dog run away. As a result of this change, the confrontation between Kristy and Shannon is different. The scene of Kristy telling Mrs. Papadakis about what happened is unique to the graphic novel. The graphic novel removes the scene where Kristy pranks Shannon by ordering a diaper delivery to her house. That's an interesting choice, to not have Kristy fight back against Shannon. The graphic novel has Marianne and Logan babysitting together. Logan is not in the book. In the book, Jamie leaves and goes home. In the graphic novel, he sticks around. When they ask what Gabby likes to do, go on rides at Disney World is replaced with coloring. Personally, I would rather go to Disney World than do coloring. In the graphic novel, Kristy asks what the kids are watching before trying to sit down in the wrong chair. It's the other way around in the book. David Michael doesn't say, "Boys aren't supposed to be pretty." The sound of the dog sneeze. Oh yeah, this is a huge change. The sound of the dog sneeze is changed from woof to snoof. In both versions, Shannon pretends there's an emergency with sorry. In the book, she laughs at Kristy and things end there. In the graphic novel, the scene is longer. Shannon pretends not to know what Kristy's talking about at first, then she mocks Kristy for being too serious, and they yell at each other. The graphic novel adds a 2-page scene of Kristy calling Mrs. Papadakis about Shannon's misbehavior. So the graphic novel has 2 unique scenes of Kristy telling Mrs. Papadakis. Chapter 7 is removed from the graphic novel. It's a chapter about Dawn's brother, Jeff. Kristy doesn't say, "Boy, what a lousy, stinking, rotten day." The graphic novel removes the second half of Kristy's complaint-filled recap of her babysitting job. The graphic novel removes the scene where Dawn worries about Jeff. Boo Boo the cat is sitting on the same couch as David Michael, whereas the book specifies he watches them warily from another chair. They remove the scene where Max spills his drink and orders Stacy to clean it up. Stacy doesn't say that she's sad for Amanda, because Amanda's 8 years old but can't get cookies by herself. The graphic novel removes the part where Stacy says part of the reason the Delaney's behaved for her is because she treated them like babies and they resented it. In the graphic novel, Christy says her club members are better babysitters than the Kilborns. This extra insult is what makes Shannon angry enough to throw pizza. The fish fountain's price went up from $2,000 to $20,000. Mrs. Pike doesn't talk about medicine or letting the kids watch TV. The book makes it more obvious that Nikki and Vanessa have chicken pox. Mallory rubs her face in the graphic novel, which made me think she has it too, but maybe not. They remove all mention of Louis getting 2 shots daily. Charlie calls Karen a dope in the original. In the graphic novel, he says bonk as he bonks her head. The little kids sleep with Louis. This replaces the scene in the book where Louis loses all control of his hind legs and he panics. They remove the scene where Andrew and Karen say goodbye to Louis. Christy doesn't ask if Louis knows what will happen. In the book, she worries they're killing him and not giving him any choice in the matter. In the book, they make a cross. The graphic novel changes it to a gravestone. At the funeral, everyone says the same things, but they talk in a different order. The graphic novel adds a scene of Christy hugging David Michael. They remove the Delaney's conversation about what they would say at Priscilla's funeral. They remove the conversation where Christy incorrectly assumes Astrid and the puppy are males. Instead, Christy calls the puppy they. The Delaneys are far more excited to play with the puppy in the book. Christy says Ben Brewer was a recluse. In the book, she says he was a herpetologist. I just noticed they misspelled the word herpetologist. In the book, Christy's brothers interrupt the conversation twice. They only do it once in the graphic novel. The graphic novel removes all mention of the fact that Logan's an associate member of the Babysitters Club, even though that's highly relevant to them wondering if Shannon should become an associate member. In the book, Shannon accepts the club membership right away. She drags it out a bit in the graphic novel. That's about 50 changes overall. I'd say the biggest change is Christy not fighting back against Shannon as much as she does in the original. So Christy's more of a victim here. The graphic novel also adds scenes with Mrs. Papadakis, which don't get any resolution, and it removes the chapter with Jeff. But really, the number one biggest change they made to the book was the sound of the dog sneeze. It went from woof to snoof. How could they have done that? Oh, it was a terrible change.